Hello and welcome to the Weekend Wrap-Up. I'm Jurnee Taylor. As technology continues to advance and change, the state of Arkansas is along for the ride. This week, the Department of Finance and Administration rolled out a new mobile app that will let Arkansans access their IDs on their phone. THV11's Brooke Buckner breaks down how it works.
Here in Arkansas, we're trying to be on the leading edge. We're trying to give the latest, greatest technology.
And now, through the new mobile ID app, you can have a digital version of your driver's license or state ID.
It's an encrypted solution. It lets you be able to control what information that you're sharing and gives you the opportunity to be able to, at some point, be able to avoid using an actual physical license.
Because the app is in its very beginning stages, Department of Finance and Administration Secretary Jim Hudson says you still need to keep your hard copy of your license with you.
You'll probably still have to have that license for driving your car because we haven't quite yet equipped all of law enforcement with the devices to be able to read that. But in the short term, you're going to have a couple of real opportunities for use cases for that app.
The DFA is currently working with TSA to roll out the app.
Once that process is completed, you have your driver's license information on your device. You have your boarding pass on your device. When you get ready to travel, all you have to do is have that phone and go through security.
And Hudson says it might take a few weeks or months before a business accepts it as a valid form of ID. Hill Station bar manager Max Oliver says he's optimistic about the new resource, but still has some questions about it.
Curious of how exactly something like that's going to work, not just from the side of the consumer, but also for us. You know, safety protocols are wonderful. I think providing that for the customer is wonderful, but also for us.
But Oliver acknowledges this is the way of the future, and he's ready to adapt to the changes.
We're going to be optimistic and positive for it. You know, trust everybody that's working on it to hope for the best.
In Little Rock, Brooke Buckner, THV11 News.
Well, the DFA is also launching an online system to make appointments at the Revenue Office. For more information on how to set up an appointment or download the mobile ID app, just visit our website, THV11.com. Meanwhile, people in Clinton continue to demand answers over high power bills from Petit Jean Electric Co-op. Many showed up last month to protest charges they called unattainable. They did see their bills go down in February because of less usage, but they're still concerned in particular over a line item the company is calling a cost of debt adjustment. That charge alone was higher than some customers' entire bill. CEO Michael Kirkland says that added cost is paying for the company's grid upgrades.
We changed a lot of poles, a lot of transformers, really upgraded our system so that we could accommodate operational fiber optic cable.
Customers say they want more transparency and plan to press for answers at a community meeting in the next coming weeks. At the state capitol, Governor Sanders is continuing her push against Chinese-based apps, adding 3 more to the ban list for Arkansas government employees. THV11's Carter Threet breaks down the new list and shares why this is happening.
TikTok has been banned on government devices here in Arkansas since 2023. This morning, the governor added 3 more apps to the list: RedNote, a TikTok substitute, DeepSeek, an AI platform, and Lemon8, a social media app owned by TikTok's creators.
Who knows what data they're able to get from there.
Here at UA Little Rock's cybersecurity department, Dr. Sandra Leiterman says she agrees with decisions like these. She feels these apps have dangers for the average person, let alone legislators.
In the United States, we have data privacy laws, right? We have laws on what a company can collect, what they can do with it, who they can share it with. If there's a data breach on a Chinese-owned app, we don't know if there is and what they're doing about it. We also don't know what they're doing with the data. Who are they giving it to? Who are they sharing it with?
State officials feel the same way. In a statement, Chief Information Officer Gary Vance said the goal of blocking these apps on government devices is to prevent foreign entities from getting critical infrastructure or sensitive information.
When you look at DeepSeek, I mean, if you understand what an AI is, it's trained on data. Well, what data are they taking to train this model on? And is it sensitive information? Is it secretive information?
As far as how blocking these apps will work, the governor's office didn't say. But Leiterman says they'll likely be blocked on certain devices, in certain locations, on certain networks. And she says the governor's office has every right to do it.
If your employer, in this case the state government, feels that it's a risk, well, you have to comply with that.
In Little Rock, Carter Thweet, THV11 News.
Well, this isn't the first action the governor has taken against China. Just last month, she announced the China Defense Legislative Package, which bans Chinese companies from buying land near critical infrastructure such as military bases. Governor Sanders also announced lawmakers' efforts to eliminate the state's grocery tax, a process that has been underway since she outlined her vision in her State of the State address. THV11's Rebecca Brown explains more about the two new bills that the governor says could return more than $10 million to the state every year.
For too many families, the grocery bill went up while their paychecks stayed the same.
With the cost of living rising, the urgency to provide relief to families has never been greater. Tuesday, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders announced lawmakers' latest legislative initiatives aimed at addressing big issues.
The Grocery Tax Relief Act to finally repeal our state grocery tax, and the Good Neighbor Act to expand liability protection for food bank donors.
The current tax on groceries in the state is 1/8 of a cent. Governor Sanders says by removing the tax, Arkansans can expect a return of $10.9 million annually. Economic experts suggest this could translate to savings of $200 to $300 per year for the average family. Senate President Bart Hester says it can seem like a small impact, but it adds up.
Every move we can make to make sure the people of Arkansas have more access to food. Look, we're one of the hungriest states in the country. That's inexcusable.
The proposal will only cut the state's tax and will not impact any county or city grocery tax. However, according to the Department of Finance and Administration, several state government programs are expected to see reduction in revenue, including state parks and tourism and Arkansas Game and Fish.
There will be no need to cut employees, personnel, or anything. We'll just have to take a look at our budget, and again, hopefully it's replaced, but if it's not, we'll take a look at budgets and see what we have to do.
In addition to the tax relief, the Good Neighbor Act aims to help food banks and certain food bank donors.
We've seen instances over the last several years in food banks not being able to accept certain products and things from restaurants and others, and so we just want to remove those barriers and make that opportunity easier.
This bill may not be a silver bullet. It may not solve all the problems, but what it does say is that we hear you, we understand the challenges that you're facing, and we're here to address the issues.
Well, lawmakers say if everything goes as planned, the bill is expected to take effect on January 1st, 2026. Well, the debate on vapes heating up at the state capitol as lawmakers are looking at an effort to impose additional restrictions on consumers, manufacturers, and possibly parents.
There's two really main points of the bill. One is to make sure that possession as well as use of tobacco or e-cigarettes are not allowed on school property, and the other is a fine to the parents for students who violate this issue.
It's already illegal to have tobacco products on school property here in Arkansas, but this bill would put stronger penalties on parents whose kids get caught. They will start at $100 and go up to $1,000. That's where several members of the committee had reservations.
In this, though, we're fining them for things that they may not even realize their kids are doing.
I'm assuming a lot of parents who would be targeted would be lower income just based on statistics that I know about.
Sponsor Aaron Pilkington pulled the bill down before the committee voted. Two other bills focused on restricting or banning vape devices failed in different committees as well, but all remain under review. And with clocks springing forward this weekend, lawmakers also discussed a bill that would change how the state handles the annual time change. House Bill 1069 will keep the state on standard time year-round, eliminating daylight saving time. And one industry that could always use the extra daylight, solar companies. Earlier this week, a significant milestone was reached to provide Arkansas with clean energy. Treaty Oak Clean Energy broke ground on a new 100-megawatt solar facility. Project representatives anticipate a surplus of 200 construction jobs. It will cost $100 million, but could provide millions in revenue. After traveling to Sheridan, where the space will be built, our team learned how the project came about.
We started early, meeting with folks in Grant County and in the Sheridan area to get to know them, understand what, if they had any questions or concerns about what we're going to be doing in their area.
The program should be operating commercially by 2026. Once completed, Redfield Solar is expected to power 18,000 homes. Well, coming up, many people outside the state capitol voicing their displeasure with the Trump administration as federal job cuts continue across the country. We'll show you who's being affected here in Arkansas and who may be affected in the future. But first, THV11's Karen Fuller verifies the purpose, the price tag, and the practicality of the newly finished underground tunnel at the state capitol.
The Arkansas State Capitol, with its neoclassical style, stands tall at the top of the downtown skyline. It's adjacent to the nearby multi-agency complex commonly called Big Mac, and now getting from one building to the other can be done without ever stepping foot outside. Let's verify what we know about a now completed tunnel. Our sources are the Arkansas Secretary of State, the Bureau of Legislative Research, the Arkansas Advocate, a nonprofit, nonpartisan news organization, and previous reporting on THV11 News. The newly renovated underground walkway opened on schedule just in time for the 2025 General Assembly in January. The final cost, $3.8 million, slightly over the initial estimate of $3.6 million approved in 2023. When first proposed, some lawmakers criticized the project as unnecessary spending, but support grew after officials combined it with upgrades to the Capitol's aging air conditioning system. Now complete, the walkway is more than just a passageway. Its design matches the Capitol's aesthetic with features to improve both function and comfort, including elevators for improved accessibility, colorful lighting for ambiance during the 50-yard walk, plus specially designed flooring for durability. During the session, lawmakers, staff, and state employees regularly move between the Capitol and Big Mac, which houses well-used committee rooms and offices for the Bureau of Legislative Research. With the walkway now open, they can make that trek without worrying about the weather.
No more.
Protesters at the state capitol taking a stand against President Trump as soon as the rain cleared out on Tuesday. The protesters have been seen on a couple of other occasions and are not the only ones across the nation voicing their disapproval of the president's actions. One of those actions is his effort on reducing the number of non-essential government employees. And even though the focus on the cuts have been in Washington, the effects are being felt here in Arkansas. One of those is Hot Springs, a city that depends on park employees to maintain popular spots like Bathhouse Row. The Hot Springs National Park Visitors Center is one of the results of the administration's push to cut the federal workforce. The mayor warns that these changes could affect tourism, especially with spring approaching.
Well, we received notice from the Hot Springs National Park Superintendent, Laura Miller, that the Fordyce Bathhouse, which serves as a visitor center and museum for the Hot Springs National Park, will be closed on Tuesdays and Wednesdays of each week until further notice.
Meanwhile, local residents are speaking out as well, stressing the importance of park employees and hoping to prevent further layoffs. For now, the future remains uncertain for both parks and the people who care for them. Well, Hot Springs is, of course, not the only city in Arkansas that is affected by the cuts. Our Jose Carranza spoke with a now former employee at the Veterans Healthcare System of the Ozarks in Fayetteville, who says he is now out of a job.
My wife woke me up at 5 o'clock in the morning and said, "Hey, honey, I just saw this on the news. You might want to wake up to check." So I went to my government phone, and there it was, that termination letter right there.
Christopher Ford, a former Equal Employment Opportunity Specialist with the Veterans Healthcare System of the Ozarks, dedicated over 13 years to federal service, 9 of those in the Air Force. On February 13th, that service came to a close, alongside 1,000 others across the Department of Veteran Affairs.
Even my director, when he saw the notification, he was shocked. Everyone was shocked.
Ford says he was fired for poor performance, but his reviews tell a different story.
Yeah, I've got the facts right there. It wasn't because of that. It was merely because I was probationary.
Another 1,400 employees have been fired from the VA nationwide, but those numbers could continue to rise as President Trump has ordered a reduction in force by March 13th. Bruce Appel serves as the president of the American Federation of Government Employees, Local 2201. He says the job cuts are leading to chaos and confusion in an already struggling workplace.
You cannot tell me that is in the veterans' interest. We're short nurses, we're short doctors, we're short everything. It's a death spiral.
The AFGE has been part of the coalition's taking their case to federal judges. On Thursday, California federal judge William H. Alsup granted a temporary restraining order halting terminations. For federal employees affected locally, AFGE Local 2201 says to call on your elected representatives.
They need to know that in their district that they are having things happen that are hurting our veterans.
For Ford, who says his work investigated wrongful termination, he claims there were many mistakes in the process, making him confident about his case, but worried about his peers.
We're not at-will employees. You can't just fire us unless there's some type of performance issue. Hence why they're labeling all these notifications that are templates that mirror each other, that may deviate by 1 or 2 words, and they aren't even providing correct timelines.
In separate statements, Senator John Boozman and Congressman Steve Womack emphasized their commitment to veterans care amid changes at the Fayetteville VA. Meanwhile, the Veterans Health Care System of the Ozarks would only confirm that what it calls a small number of probationary staff have been let go and says patient care remains unaffected. Meanwhile, President Trump has paused a 25% tariff on Mexican and most Canadian imports. Economists say that once the pause is over, it could mean the price of key items will go up for local breweries. Here in Little Rock, one brewery says it found a domestic supplier before the tariffs were initially announced, and it's holding the line on the cost of barley. On top of that, the business has a stockpile of its most expensive necessities.
Well, we've got a good supply of cans. That's the number one thing. As far as malts, we're in good shape now, but I'll probably look at our inventories and may need to add up a little bit just to be on the safe side.
Now, they may be in the clear for now, but one economic professor says all we can do is wait and see for the next couple of months or years.
Whether it's just a temporary kind of negotiating situation or whether we should count on these taxes being in place for the long run. And that's going to matter for business decisions and investment and expansion.
If costs do climb down or start climbing upward, breweries and other businesses may have to adjust. Eventually, that could mean higher prices for customers. The ShotSpotter system in Little Rock could be coming back. See why city leaders are rethinking their decision to take it away. Before we get there, Hayden Balgavy shows us one of the fastest growing spots in Little Rock.
I'm going to pass out as soon as we're done shooting this segment. She looked at him with a surprised glare, stunned at how good the sandwich actually looked. Oh, hello there. Well, this week on Eat It Up, we are taking a little time to enjoy the simple things. Maybe a good book, some amazing breakfast, a lunch sandwich that you definitely have to try, and of course, some incredible coffee at Cafe 317 on Shackelford. So what do you say? Let's eat it up.
So the history for my family, my mom and dad had a place called Cordell's, which was a gourmet food store and deli down in Riverdale. And there's a few specific things that were kind of crowd favorites. Our potato salad, our chicken salad, our rare roast beef, our Cordell special. Those are items we brought back from Cordell's and kind of been sort of the foundation of the menu that we have here for our lunches. Great place right here in the heart of the city, which is where we wanted to be for the community, easy in. You literally come right up at 4:30 and circle right into our parking lot. Been in here for a couple of months. Community's responding really great, and that's the reason we did it. So we're excited about it. We want you to come in and stay. We want you to build relationships and connect with one another here in a comfy space. That's what we've tried to create for you. We really wanted the focus to be on excellent quality, high-end coffee. So from pour-overs to lattes to drip coffee, it's excellent. It's roasted weekly from a roaster in Searcy for us.
I almost feel bad ruining the beautiful art in there, but it has to be done.
Sometimes you go to a breakfast place and the coffee's not amazing, or you go to a great coffee place and the breakfast is not amazing. We're like, we got to make this work both ways.
You did it. Let me tell you.
We're hoping to. We're hoping to.
The breakfast burrito. And you can get whatever meat on there you want. Take your pick. Or you can get all three. The pico slaps. Cordell's special. 2 decades since a lot of people have been able to eat something like this. I love that mustard on there. It's so good. That cheese, ooh, the melty cheese. You were getting a healthy portion of a lunch sandwich. These things are massive. Selfishly, I've been eyeing this bad boy because there's literally nothing more I love for breakfast than a biscuit with cheese, egg, and bacon. Yeah, I'm gonna devour this entire thing. Happy breakfast to me.
A controversial gunshot detection service is potentially getting a second lease on life in the city of Little Rock. THV11's Carter Thweet shows us why ShotSpotter almost went away and why it could be here to stay.
It gives them a feeling of safety.
City Director Lance Hines supports the use of ShotSpotter technology. It's in cities around the country, including Little Rock. Microphones perched on buildings and telephone poles to detect gunshots and report them to police. But some feel the technology is too expensive and unreliable.
I will be giving my support for more funding and more resources for the community and not necessarily the technology. So I will be voting no.
That was February 4th when Andrea Hogan Lewis joined 2 of her fellow city directors in voting no on a new contract for ShotSpotter, which Little Rock has used since 2018. There were 5 yes votes, but the requirement is 6. So the contract, worth $188,000, failed.
We lost a vote during session that I didn't realize we were gonna lose.
But Hines feels that if the issue were to come up again, it would have a better chance of passing. He pointed to the fact that one director, who he says supports ShotSpotter, was absent on February 4th.
Director Pack was out with hip surgery, and so we felt it really important that we not take that tool away from our police department and our prosecutors.
So at Tuesday night's meeting, Hines made a motion to expunge or undo that February vote. It didn't come without controversy. Director Antoine Phillips asked why this wasn't on the meeting's agenda, keeping the public from commenting.
In my perspective, things need to be on the agenda so the public knows that we're doing it.
But City Attorney Tom Carpenter explained that since a motion to expunge just undoes a vote that you've already taken, it doesn't go on the agenda. And so Hines' motion passed, meaning the board will now decide at a later date whether to keep ShotSpotter around.
I don't know the date of when it will come back up, but it will come back up for another vote.
In Little Rock, Carter Thweet, THV11 News.
Well, the board's initial decision to cancel the contract put Little Rock on a list of cities, including Chicago, Houston, Portland, Oregon, and Atlanta, that stopped using the ShotSpotter technology. And moving over to Jacksonville, now where a temporary closure is expected to slow things down on I-67-167. The highway, now designated as Interstate 57, will require a full closure of the northbound lanes. It's a project that's been in the works for some time now and is part of RDOT's Connecting Arkansas program. It's aiming to widen a 2.5-mile stretch on Highway 67 to 6 lanes between Main Street and Vandenberg Boulevard.
It's not a real exciting part of work, but drainage improvements is the reason for the weekend closure.
What you're seeing are the northbound lanes of I-57 in Jacksonville, and crews will close these lanes to perform drainage improvements, weather permitting, starting at 8 p.m. on Friday, March 7th, and lasting through noon on Saturday, March 8th. During this time, northbound traffic will be rerouted via Main Street at exit 9. Drivers will continue on the frontage road and re-enter the highway using the North James Street on-ramp. Traffic control measures will be in place, including message boards, construction barriers, and signage. Officials urge drivers to exercise caution in the work zone and be prepared for slower speeds.
I know it seems like it's been going on a long time, but it's a pretty involved project, widening to 6 lanes, so it's actually ahead of schedule. So things are going very well with this project. It started in the spring of 23 and will be wrapped up in late 27.
Now, if you're familiar with the area, then you know this site all too well.
Spring of 23 and will be wrapped up in late 27.
The $145.2 million project also includes improvements to the interchanges at James Street, Gregory Street, and Vandenberg Boulevard, as well as the conversion of frontage roads to one-way traffic.
We appreciate everyone's patience, but motorists in this case should be very pleased so far. It's about 60% done. Everything's been going well.
Almost there. Well, that's it for the weekend wrap up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.